ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। ॐ श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः। ॐ श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। We were discussing the Sutta Prakashika Ukta Dushanam, whatever they have said with reference to the Nirvishesha Vastu and Nirvikalpaka Jnanam, you can say. Those things we are examining and we are negating and establishing that the Nirvishesha Vastu is known through the Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. In this context, the Susupti is an important avastha to analyze and understand. We say that in the Sushupti, this whatever we experience, that is really a Nirvikalpaka Jnanam, because in the Sushupti, the Triputi itself is not experienced while you are sleeping. Although you can get up and recollect that you slept well and you did not know anything, and that recollection also points to the fact that you experienced whatever you experienced there, correct? That it points to that experience, but that experience itself is Nirvikalpaka Jnanam, is what we are saying. And this, the Purvapakshi is objecting to that, because we say that the Sakshi Chaitanya is there in Sushupti, Sukha also is there, and Ajnanam also is there. Now, first problem is these three things are there. How can you say then it is Nirvikalpa if three things are there? Then we have to say that they are not really three things. In fact, they are non-separate from the Chaitanyam only. Okay. The Sukha is in fact is Brahma Swarupa or Atma Swarupa. And Chaitanyam again is also another word which is pointing out to the nature of that one Vastu alone. There is only one Vastu. We are using different words to actually point out its nature. That nature is only one. Whether you use words like Satyam, Anantam, Jnanam, Ananda, etc. And in fact, each word is actually a revealing word which removes certain wrong notions about this Brahmatma. That's how we look at it. That doesn't mean that these separate qualities are there in a qualified object, correct? That is what we are arguing against here. So these words are all only Swarupa Lakshana. They point to the very nature of the Vastu. And then what about Ajnana? See, that is the point here now. We were last discussing that. Okay, the Chaitanya, the Sakshi Chaitanya is there, fine. But what about Ajnana? Okay, Ajnana cannot be Nirvishesha. Okay, Ajnanam has to be Savishesha. So that is what he is saying here. If you see, Nacha Ajnanam Savisheshamiti Vachyam. So Ajnanam Savishesham is what they are saying. Even that he cannot say. Why? Jagara Swapnayoho Ajnanasya Savilasatvena Savisheshatvepi Sushuptav Nirvilasatvena Nirvisheshatvam Eva Pralaya Iva. So in Jagrat and Swapna, Ajnana is manifest, you can say. Vilasa means we can take it as manifest. Our projection is there. Ajnana Karya is there. The manifestation of Ajnana is there only in Jagrat and Swapna, in waking and dream. The Ajnana itself becomes unmanifest, undifferentiated, correct? In sleep, which is like Pralaya. So in the unmanifest, you cannot have any Vishesha or Vikalpa or anything. Everything is unmanifest, correct? Everything has resolved into a potential state. Therefore, that is to be taken as only Nirvishesha. That is our argument here. Now, to this, the Purva Pakshi comes back with an interesting argument. Okay, he says, Nacha Kevala Ajnana Abhavat Ajnana Avachinna Chaitanyam Chaitanya Sahitam Ajnanam Va Vishayaha Bhavati Iti Tat Savisheshameva. Okay. So, Kevala Ajnana Abhavat means this Ajnana Vilasa may not be there. Okay. But you are also saying that I do not know is experienced, correct? And any experience means it is that Vishaya Avachinna Chaitanyam is there. That's what you guys are also saying. He is saying that. So even our understanding of knowledge is what? That any Vishaya Avachinna Chaitanya has to be there for any jnanam or any experience to take place. So this we are not saying only Ajnana alone is there and it is not manifest and all. You are saying what the Purva Pakshi is trying to say is we are not saying Ajnana alone is there. Okay. Kevala Ajnana Abhava means what? Only Ajnanam may not be there, but Ajnana along with the conditioned consciousness has to be there for the Ajnana to be experienced. So Ajnana Avachinna Chaitanyam or he is saying Chaitanya Sahitam Ajnana means the Jnana along with Chaitanya has to be there, correct? That means two things are there. Or we can even say that Ajnanam itself is somehow conditioned or qualified by Chaitanya. So Chaitanya, Ajnana Avachinna Chaitanyam, either Chaitanyam conditioned by Ajnanam is there or Ajnanam conditioned by Chaitanyam has to be there. So basically Ajnanam and Chaitanyam both are there. Okay. So that being the case, that is the Vishaya for that particular experience in Sushupti. Therefore, it is Savishesha only. Tat Savishesham eva. This is their argument. Even that we don't accept, correct? Na Vachyam. Why? Jnana Chaitanya Atiriktanam eva Visheshatvena Grahanat. Okay, see, this Ajnanam has a very unique place in our understanding. So, what our Velangonda is saying is anything which is other than Ajnanam and Chaitanyam alone are all considered as Visheshana, Visheshya, etc. This Ajnana and Brahman, they themselves you cannot impute any, in any way you cannot look at this Ajnana, correct? That's why we also talk about Anirvachaniya. So in fact, he is going to go towards that. So that's why he is taking this argument and leading to the Anirvachaniyatva of the Ajnana, Maya, etc. And already I told you, we do not differentiate the Ajnanam and Maya, particularly in the unmanifest. When we talk about the unmanifest or undifferentiated state, there is no point in differentiating there, correct? In fact, that is why it is undifferentiated. How can you differentiate anything in the undifferentiated? But why do we have two words then? That is because for Ishvara it is Maya, the same becomes avidya to the jiva. Understand that? So that is why we say Ishvara is Mayavi. So the magic itself, from the standpoint of the magician, is not deluding. Understand that? That's why we say it can be called as a Shakti of the magician. Whatever magic the magician produces is the magician's power or Shakti. But the same thing becomes a delusion for the onlookers. So it's the one and the same thing. We are using two words because we are looking at it from different standpoints. Okay. So here, what he is saying is anything other than Ajnana and Chaitanya alone can be considered as, that means basically Ajnana Karya. All this Visheshatva and all comes only with the Ajnana Karya. There is no Vishesha in the Avyakta or Avyakrita. So he is explaining that further now. What Ajnanasya Chaitanya Shaktitvena Chaitanya Chaitanyat parthakyena aparthakyena va nirvaktum ashakyatva cha. Okay. So Ajnana is considered as a Shakti, Chaitanya Shakti, like I said, or Maya Shakti. Correct? So Mama Maya, Duratyaya and all. In Gita, in fact, Bhagavan talks about Maya as a Shakti and how he deludes the Jivas with that Maya. And Upanishad also talks about that. Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat, Mayinam tu Maheshwaram. Like this. And they both are together. In fact, even this Maya, Jnana and all only from the standpoint of the Vyavahara. Understand that. So, it all depends on what standpoint you are looking at the reality, from what standpoint. So, even from the Vyavahara, we cannot say whether this Ajnana is separate from Brahman or same as Brahman. Because really speaking, Nirgunam Brahma cannot have any Shakti and all that. Brahman itself is Nirgunam, Nishkriyam. Correct? But you cannot but you also have to account for the Jagat, correct? So to account for the Jagat, then we have to talk about this Maya and the Shakti. So then how do we reconcile? Means that's why we say the Karya Karana Prakriya itself is only to teach you that the Karya is Mithya, thereby the Karanatvam also is Mithya. Karanatvam is Mithya, therefore it is all Mithya only. The Maya itself is Mithya. Our Ajnanam also is Mithya, therefore it does not really exist. Correct? When we say Mithya, we say that wherever you cognize it, there it is never there in all periods of time. Correct? That's what we say. That is what is Mithya. Wherever you see it, if you see a snake on the rope, how do we even define Mithya? In the same locus where you cognize the snake is never there in all periods of time. That's how we understand it. So when you understand like that, there is no Advaita Hani or there is no problem. Anyway, what we are saying here is you cannot, either you look at it as the Shakti of Brahman, but even that is from the Vyavahara only, or even otherwise what, even that Shakti itself, the Shakti Matva Bhava, and all you cannot postulate on Brahman. So you cannot also categorically say that they are separate or they are one and the same, etc. So that's why Parthakya means what? Prithakta. Only the Parthakya is a Tadita word. So there is no, either it is a, you cannot say that Ajnana is separate or non-separate. Nirvaktum Ashakyatvat, you cannot say that. Okay. But what the Purva Bakshi now comes back, he says, Kincha ayam gataha iti jnane घट चैतन्य भयस्य विषयत्वे सत्यपि घटम एकमेव अहम ज्ञातवान इति प्रत्येति लोकः न तु घट चैतन्य द्वयमिति. Okay, now in fact this is said by the Siddhanti only, but the Purvapakshi can come back and say, correct, that when the Gata Chaitanya, whatever ayam gataha iti jnanam also, in that Gata also is there, Chaitanyam also is there, we have to say, correct, the Gata Chaitanyam alone is a jnanam. Like that, that's what his argument is, correct. The Ajnana Chaitanya is there. When both are there, then it becomes Avishesha. But what here Vellanganda is pointing out is, normally when the normal people, when they know something, they are not saying that I know both Gata and Chaitanya and all that. Okay. I know Gata means you know Gata alone. Gata ekameva aham jnatavan. Correct. I only knew the Gata or any object which you know, Gata Pata, etc. When you know that, correct. Ayam gataha iti jnane, in the cognition, this is part. We are not saying that I am knowing the part also and I am knowing a Chaitanya separately from that. Correct? Both are the Vishaya in that cognition. Like that, nobody says that or nobody has that experience. Even though both are there, we have to say that both are there. So even he accepts that. He says Gata Chaitanya Dvayasya Vishayatve Satyapi. Even though it is there, but the normal cognition is what? I know part, I know cloth, etc. That's all. they only know the Vishaya. Okay, in fact, that is what we are even saying. You whatever Pratibodha Viditam Matam, whatever Kenopanishad says, people miss that. People miss the obvious. So they do not know like that. They only know one thing, the whatever the object is revealed. Okay. So they do not Natu Gata Chaitanya Dvayam. They do not cognize both. Okay. But even then what? This is Ajnani. What about Jnani? So Purvapakshi comes and says, Vidvan Gata Avachinna Chaitanyam Jnatamiti Pratyeti. But the Vidwan sees both. Vidwan knows both. In fact, when the Vidwan knows both, one becomes Mithya. Correct? That is the whole idea. One is no more there. So the Purvapakshi is also cannot say that. So na vachyam, what Vidwan Gata Avachinna Chaitanyam Jnatamiti Pratyeti iti na vachyam. Why? तर्हि इह अपि विद्वान् अज्ञान अवच्छिन्न चैतन्यम् एव अनुभूतम् इति प्रत्येति इति तुष्यतु भवान्. Okay, first he is just, he's not really answering. So what he is saying is, if you say that, then the Vidwan will know that both Chaitanyam and Ghata are there. So similarly, he says, okay, then let it be. Let it be that the Jnani in the Sushupti also Jnani knows the Ajnana Avachinna Chaitanyam. Only he experiences, let it be, he says. Okay. Tushyat. Let it be like that. You be happy. Okay. Okay. So once he accepts this, then the Purvapakshi has a point now, correct? So he comes back. He says, Nanu evam avachinna chaitanyasya saviseshatvena tad vishayakam jnanam savikalpakam eva iti sushuptau api savikalpakam eva jnanam na nirvikalpakam iti che. So now he says, okay, now you yourself are saying the Jnani experiences only the Ajnana Avachinna Chaitanya in Sushupti. If the Avachinna Chaitanya is there, means that is Savishesha only. It can be only in the form of Savishesha. Savisheshatvena, Tad Vishayakam Jnanam, and that Jnanam also, whatever Anubhuti is there, it also has to be Savikalpakam, even in Sushupti. Therefore, in the Sushupti, there is only Savikalpaka Jnanam and not Nirvikalpaka Jnanam. Like this, the Purvapakshi is saying, if he says that what? No, we don't accept that. It's not in that manner. Now we are actually giving the final Siddhanta. Okay, why? Because, like I said, see, even Vritti Jnanam, when we say, the Jnana word itself is only Aupacharikam, correct? Vritti itself is Jada. How can the Vritti be Jnanam? Like this, even here, even though we talk about a nirvikalpaka vishaya and nirvikalpaka vritti and all that, in fact, finally what we have to say, in fact, all vrittis are really only savisheshaka. That's what is now going to point out the Siddhanta. He is saying, sarvada nirvikalpakam na vritti jnanam. So he accepts now. We accept that nirvikalpakam, this vritti jnanam is not nirvikalpakam. When we talk about nirvikalpaka jnanam, it is always the swarupa jnanam alone. It's not the vritti jnanam. Understand that. So therefore, whenever vritti is involved, we cannot really say it is nirvikalpaka. Okay. And also the chaitanyam or the nirvikalpaka jnanam itself can never become the vishaya of the vritti, the vritti jnana. Okay, napi tad vishaya bhutam chaitanyam. So chaitanyam cannot become the vishaya of the vritti jnanam also, because the very vritti itself is existing only because of this chaitanyam. That's why we say eto vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha and all that. So the vritti cannot objectify the consciousness. So this is all fine. This is well known. So then why do we then talk about this nirvikalpakam, particularly in Sushupti? That's why the Sushupti is only accepted as a drishtanta. Understand that. Even if you go and see the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the Swayamjyoti Brahmanam, the Upanishad talks about Sushupti as though it is moksha. But then Bhashyakara also goes along with that. But then Janaka asks one more question. Okay, you'll further teach me. Then Bhashyakara there puts the note saying that the Sushupti is only a drishtanta for moksha. Jagrat and Swapna are only a drishtanta for samsara. Now the Dashtantika has to be shown. So the samsara Dashtantika means it is not only this Jagrat Swapna, but one takes, even if this body is gone, you are not going to become a Mukta Purusha, correct? Another body will come, another body will come. That is the samsara they are talking about. Similarly, the moksha also means it is free from any avastha or anything. So the Sushupti avastha only we are giving it as a drishtanta. And even when we say that nirvikalpakam and all that, basically it is pointing to the nirvikalpaka vastu. Or you do not really cognize any vikalpa. That's all we say. When we say nirvikalpakam, basically what we are saying is you are not cognizing any vikalpa. So here we are accepting now finally what we are saying. Sarvada nirvikalpakam na vritti jnanam napi tad vishayabhutam chaitanya. Then what? Kintu paramarthikam anavichinnam brahmabhutam chaitanyam eva. So only the ultimate paramarthika reality in that this anavachinnam means unconditioned, unlimited, and Brahman alone is Chaitanya. That Chaitanyam alone is really nirvikalpakam also. Okay, so that is what is the Siddhanta finally. Okay, so any vritti you cannot really, all we say is that the vritti is not revealing any vikalpa. Means it is conforming to the swarupa of the vastu. That's what I told you even before. When your mental state conforms to the reality, that is what we say akandakara vritti and all that. Okay, but as soon as you talk about a vritti itself is only in vyavahara. And the vritti also is equally, it's all mithya only. Okay. So he is now pointing to the paramarthika reality here. Okay, once this is pointed out, what the Purva Pakshi comes back. He says, Nacha vritti jnana vishaya bhutam anavachinna chaitanyam nirvikalpakam eva iti vachyam. So, see this, even the vritti jnana vishaya bhutam, he says. So the Purva Pakshi says, even then what? There is, you cannot say that this anavachinna chaitanya is not vritti vishaya. Because we say that napi tad vishaya bhutam chaitanyam was said, correct? So now the Purva Pakshi doesn't accept that, because in fact the Dvaitins and the Vishishta Dvaitins cannot accept that, correct? For them you have to know Bhagavan in a particular form and all that. And they have their own meaning of nirvikalpaka anyway. So he is saying this Vrittijnana Vishaya Bhutam only this. Even though Paramatma is Anavachinna Chaitanya, means unlimited consciousness, but it is that Paramatma can still be known through the Vrittijnana, and Paramatma becomes the Vishaya of the Vrittijnana is what they are claiming. So he is still claiming what? No. This Chaitanya is Anavachinna. It is unlimited. Okay. And but that Chaitanya is still Vrittijnana Vishaya only, Vrittijnana Vishaya Bhutam. And in that way, it is also Nirvikalpakam, they say. Okay. So that you cannot say. Why? Anavachinna Chaitanyasya Vrittijnana Vishayatva Abhava. So we do not accept that this unlimited consciousness, this unconditioned consciousness can become a Vishaya of the Vrittijnana. That's why all we say is that the Vrittijnanam destroys only Ajnanam. It cannot make the Chaitanya as a Vishaya. Understand that? So the even the Akhandakara Vritti only destroys all the wrong notions. Chaitanyam need not, that's why the Vritti Vyapti, Phala Vyapti and all that we talk about. Okay. So the Vritti Vyapti alone is there, but there is no Phala Vyapti. This concept again Bhashyakara talks about in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya. Okay. Although he doesn't use the exact terms Vritti Vyapti and Phala Vyapti, but he talks about this same thing there. The Chaitanyam, so his argument is more like it need not be objectified or it need not become a Vishaya because it is Swayam Jyoti. Correct? That is the whole idea. All that is required is Ajnanam has to be destroyed. So the Vritti's role is only in destroying the Ajnanam. And there is no objectification neither by the mind or any Vritti of the mind. Okay. So this Anavachinna Chaitanya cannot become the Vishaya of a Vritti Jnanam. Okay. But what about Samadhi? Yogis are all talking about Samadhi. And if you get into Samadhi, you become Jnani and all that. So even there it's a problem. Because even Bhashyakara himself talks about that. This Chitta Vritti Nirodha alone is not enough. Understand that stopping all the Vrittis temporarily is not enough. That will not make you a Jnani or anything. Only the Vakya Janita Jnanam is so important. That's why for the Vedantin, in fact, Bhashyakara says the other way around. Without the Vakya Janita Jnanam, even the Vrittis, this Vritti Nirodha cannot be done, he says. In the 147, there is a beautiful portion of the Bhashya. Bhashyakara doesn't accept the conclusions of the Yoga Darshana. Okay. And he points out that even whatever you call as the Samadhi, etc., has to have the backing of this knowledge. Then maybe that Samadhi can be helpful in assimilating this knowledge. That's a different thing. Okay. The Samadhi alone, in fact, you cannot even reach it, he says, without this jnana. So now the Purvapakshi is saying, Samadhau Ajnana Abhavat, okay, Avrittehe Vishaya Bhutam Anavachinna Chaitanyam Eva. Okay. So this in the Samadhi, he says, okay, this what he is saying is what? Ajnana Abhavat. Ajnana is not there in Samadhi. Okay. This itself is a questionable thing, but anyway. And then what? Vrittehe Vishaya, in fact, cannot be, there should be Avagraha there, I think. Abhavat Vrittehe Vishaya Bhutam, he says. Ajnana is not there, but Manovritti is still there, or something like that. In Samadhi also, they talk about a Shanta Vritti and all that. Therefore, this Anavachinna Chaitanya now becomes the Vishaya of that Vritti in the Samadhi. In the Samadhi, whatever Vritti is there, the Ajnana is not there, but the Vritti is there. In that Vritti, Vishaya is this Chaitanya. That is what they are claiming. So, Vrittehe Vishaya Bhutam Anavachinna Chaitanyam Eva iti na vachyam vai Ajnana Abhave Tatkarya Antakarana Vrittehe Eva. Okay. So, if you say that there is no Ajnana, then how can there be any Manovritti, etc.? Because Manovritti itself is Ajnana Karya. Okay. It is just the result or the effect of Ajnana. That being the case, how can you talk about Vritti being there? Once the Ajnana is completely gone, so you cannot say that. That is the argument here. Sthiti Ayoga, so it cannot be there. The Vritti itself, how can there be any Vritti if Ajnana is totally gone? Therefore, what he is saying, Ataya eva nirbija samadho vrittehe api anabhibhagamaha. Means even those who talk about Samadhi and nirbija Samadhi, in that there is no bija also, they say. So, in that vritti is not accepted, he is saying. And bijasya ajnanasya bhavat, because the bija itself is the ajnana only, correct? So, the ajnana is the bija that everybody accepts. Even those who claim that ajnana is abhava, they say that abhava is the bija. I don't know. But in fact, Bhashyakara in the Gata Bhashya says any abhava which has a qualification is only bhava rupa anyway. So, That's not an issue. So the bija itself, if you don't accept, then vritti also cannot be there. Okay. So basically what we are establishing here is that Chaitanyam is not a vritti vishaya. Okay. So then why do you call nirvikalpaka jnanam and all that? Nirvikalpaka jnanam also is only really vritti jnanam, correct? So now he is explaining that. So vritti jnanasya nirvikalpakatvam tu vritter jnanatvam iva aupacharikam. So this is the final siddhanta. What is the siddhanta? Like we say vritti jnanam, even there the jnana shabda itself is only figurative or aupacharika. Because vritti itself is jada. It cannot be really jnana. But since it is helping you in revealing something, cognize something, it is called jnanam. Similarly, even the nirvikalpaka jnanam also is only aupacharikam. So why do we say it is aupacharikam? So he is saying that, see, tatra cha yasmin jnane ajnana karyam vishayaha bhavati tat savikalpakam. So basically what we are saying, what is savikalpaka? Whenever the ajnana karya becomes the vishaya of a vritti, then it is savikalpaka jnanam. Okay. And when yasminstu ajnana karyam vishaya na bhavati, tat nirvikalpakam iti uchyate vyavastha. So like I said, if the ajnana karya is not a vishaya, then it is nirvikalpakam jnanam. That's all we are saying. Okay. That is also aupacharikam. That doesn't mean that the nirvikalpaka-svarupa-niroopaNam becomes the vishaya of that vritti. Understand that. The nirvikalpakam jnanam, what we talk about is only to point out that whenever the ajnana karya is not the vishaya, and whatever state of mind is that, that state of mind is basically nirvikalpaka jnanam. Okay, that's all we are pointing out, and nothing more than that by this term. Okay, so therefore what? Nacha evam nirvikalpaka vritti jnanasya katipaya vishesha rahityam eva asmad uktam siddhamiti vachyam. Okay, now the Purvapakshi says, so you have also now accepted this vritti jnanam is also savishesha. All vritti jnanam is savishesha. And you are also saying this vritti jnanam cannot make nirvikalpakam as vishaya. Therefore, really speaking, what even your nirvikalpaka vritti or jnana also is having some vishesha, katipaya vishesha is there, and katipaya vishesha is not there. Like you yourself are saying, it is not making the ajnana karya as the vishesha, okay, or the vishaya. Sorry, ajnana karya as not the vishaya, but not all visheshas are gone. Ajnana itself can be the vishaya and all that. Therefore, you are now again entering into our territory. Okay. So, this is what the Purvapakshi is saying. Katipaya Vishesha Rahityam Eva Asmaduktam. We also said only that Nirvikalpaka Jnana means some Visheshas are not there. Not like all of them are not there. Means then what do we say? No, what we both are saying is not the same. You are saying Nirvikalpaka Jnanam is Prathama Pinda Jnana, correct? So, Tvaya Prathama Pinda Jnanasya Nirvikalpakatvam Uktam Natu evam vidhasya iti bheda. So we both are not saying the same thing. In fact, you are saying the first the cognition of the first, you can say the implementation of a class. Okay, let us say like that in the modern language. Okay, so the the first individual entity which you cognize in a category is nirvikalpakam, and then afterwards everything is savikalpaka and all that. That is a meaningless classification. We are not saying that. We are saying that whenever the mind cognizes any avidya karya and makes it a vishaya, then it is savikalpakam. When no avidya karya is cognized and mind itself is actually resolved. Okay. Then it is nirvikalpaka, that state of mind. But even in that state of mind, mind cannot objectify the real nirvikalpaka jnanam, which is the swarupa jnanam. Okay, that is what we are saying. So we both are not saying the same thing. It's not the same really. And anyway, we have a nirvikalpaka jnanam, which is the satyam, correct? Which is the satya vastu. So that is what we are saying. You don't even accept the nirvikalpaka vastu. So it's not that we are saying the same thing, etc. Only with reference to the vritti jnanam, we are saying the usage of the nirvikalpaka jnanam is aupacharikam. That doesn't mean that there is no nirvikalpaka jnanam at all, which we are talking about. Is that clear? So, whatever you say is not what we are saying really, it is completely different. So, therefore, what? Yadva yasmin jnane vastu swarupa matram eva vishayaha tan nirvikalpakam yatra tu tad atiriktam nama jatyadikam vishayaha tat savikalpakam. Okay, now we are going back to this, our definition of savikalpakam and nirvikalpakam. This is what, in fact, even it is there in the Vedanta Paribhasha, or Kitsuki, or even up to Vivarana. I think you can go and take references in this. What we are saying is, this is what we say, Sambandha Avagahi Jnanam is Savikalpaka, Sambandha Anavagahi Jnanam is Nirvikalpakam. So, whenever you cognize only the Vastu Swarupa, okay, that becomes the Vishaya of a vritti, that is Nirvikalpakam for us, because there is no Jati, Guna, Kriya, Sambandha, etc. are not cognized in that. Vastu Swarupam alone is cognized. And where all these other things, Nama Jatyadi, are also cognized, that becomes Savikalpaka. That's why we are saying even Soyam Devadattaha is really Nirvikalpaka, because even though Saha and Ayam are Savikalpa, in our understanding, we give up the real qualifications of Saha and Ayam and only understand the person, correct? Without connecting the person with any qualities, whether the current qualities or whatever qualities were there before, both of them are given up and only the Vastu Swarupa is understood. All such jnanam, we say, is Nirvikalpakam only. Okay. So this way also we can understand. So two ways he is giving. One is, if you go more like a yoga kind of understanding, we say that when the ajnana karya is not cognized, then it is nirvikalpaka. Or if we go more of an epistemologically, we say that whenever only Vastu Swarupa alone is cognized without cognizing any of the Sambandha or any Jati, Guna, Kriya, etc. also is not cognized. Only the Vastu Swarupa is cognized, that is Nirvikalpaka. This is more along the line of, like I said, our epistemological understanding. So that's why he says Yadva. So both ways we can look at it. So even in according to this definition also, in the Sushupti he is saying, see Sushupta ucha jnane vastu swarupameva vishayaha iti tasya nirvikalpakatvam. Okay, so even in the Sushupti, you do not cognize any sambandha, anything, correct? Or jati, guna, kriya, or sambandha. There also you are only cognizing the Vastu Swarupa, which is your own Swarupa, in fact. So Vastu Swarupa meva Vishayaha. Therefore, the Sushupti Anubhava is really Nirvikalpaka only. Okay. So this way also we can understand. Okay. But when then the Purva Bhakti says, Evam Sushuptavu Ajnana Vishayakam Jnanam na Nirvikalpakam, he says. See, in Sushupti, the Ajnana Vritti is there, you are saying. And then whatever becomes the Vishaya of that Ajnana Vritti, how can you say that it is Nirvikalpaka? That is his argument now again. So if you say that what? na vachyam, even that. So evam sushuptavu ajnana vishayakam jnanam na nirvikalpakam. If you say that, even that you cannot say. Why? Tatrapi jnane ajnana vastu swarupam swarupam yaiva. Okay. Vishaya bhutatvena adosha. Okay. Swarupam yeva, I think it should be, I think. Swarupam yaiva has become, it is that. I don't know. It looks like a printing error. Okay, even in that jnanam what? The ajnana vastu swarupa alone is known there. Even in the sushupti. So the vastu, our original definition stands, correct? We say that when the vastu swarupa alone is known, then it is nirvikalpaka jnanam, we said. So even in the sushupti, only the ajnana vastu swarupa is known. And that is the vishaya of that anubhava, and that is nirvikalpakam only according to our definition. Okay, once we say this, now the Purva Bakshi comes. What is the swarupa of that ajnana? So he is asking that. Nanu kim tad ajnanasya swarupam yad jnane vishayaha bhavati iti uchyate. So you are talking about some vritti jnanam in the sushupti, and then in that vritti ajnana becomes the vishaya, you are saying. Okay. And that ajnana swarupa is known means, what is that ajnana swarupa you are talking about? Is what he is asking. Okay. So what is the ajnana swarupa means? In fact, we normally try to wriggle out of this. So let us see. It will be interesting how he answers. So iti chet uchyate, what kim tum ajnana swarupam na vedsi. Okay. So do you do you not know the swarupa of the ajnana? Why are you even asking this question? He is asking like that first. So if you say I don't know, okay, naham vedmi iti chet tarhi bruhi tad avedanasya swarupam mahyam. So if he says I don't know what is ajnanam, it itself is ajnana, correct? That's what he is beautifully asking. He is saying, if I ask you, do you not know the swarupa of ajnana, means if you say I don't know, then what is the swarupa of that I don't know? Then tell me. So naham vedmi iti che tarhi bruhi tadeva tad avedanasya swarupam mahyam. That you do not know what is ajnana swarupa, what is the swarupa of that? You tell me that now. If you say what? Naham vaktum shaknomi iti chet. So if you say I cannot even say that. Okay. Then what? Kim tava tad vachana ashaktihi tad avedana anubhava abhava. Okay. So if you say I cannot even say that, then that ability to not be being able to articulate it, correct? That inability I have to say. So that inability to articulate that is due to the fact that you do not have anubhava of ajnana, or even if you have the anubhava, correct? Yadva satyapi anubhave vang manasayoho avishayatva. Even if you have that anubhava, it is not a vishaya of words and mind. What is the answer? No, it cannot be the first one, correct? You cannot say I don't have anubhava of ajnana because everybody says I don't know. So anubhava purvakatvat naham vedmi iti vachanasya. So the very fact that you say I don't know points out to your anubhava of not knowing. So you cannot say you do not have the anubhava. Then what? Dvitiye, dvitite is there, even that is again, I think, printing error. Dvitiye, okay. Vetsya eva tvam ajnana swarupam iti vyarthoyam prashnaha. So if you know, if you have anubhava of ajnanam, then don't ask me any question about its swarupa, because you already have anubhava. In fact, even in the 13th chapter of Gita, Bhashyakara simply says that whoever says I don't know has ajnanam. Who has ajnanam means what? The one who, you know that whether you know or you don't know, correct? For that you don't have to do any more analysis or anything. So the one who says I don't know has the ignorance, and then he has to get rid of that. That is his problem, his or her problem. Therefore, it is vyartha, it is meaningless to question Once you have the anubhava, don't come and ask me what is its swarupa, etc. You know that whether you are able to articulate or not is different. It's not important. Therefore, what tasmat anubhava eka vedyam eva ajnanam yata sukham dukkham cha. So it is like even sukha and dukkha, correct? If I exactly ask you what is sweetness, see, there is even a saying, correct? Even Saraswati also cannot tell you what is sweet, really speaking. You can keep telling some words, but whatever you are experiencing, that's what in fact even scientists are now talking about as qualia and all that. They have a new word now. The subjective experience, none of the subjective experiences can never be brought about in words, really, correct? So it's the same as sukham, dukkam, etc. What is Sukha Swarupa, Dukkha Swarupa? If I keep on asking, nobody can answer, correct? Even what is sweetness means you can give some words, but it's not going to reveal its Swarupa or anything unless you have experienced it. That is the Swarupa of that. Similarly, Ajnanam also is what? Anubhava Eka Vedyam. This is your Anubhava. I don't know, you say, as soon as you say, I don't know, Ajnana Anubhava is there. Ajnana is something which is known. In fact, that's why Bhashyakara even points out that it is not Atma Swarupa. It is not part of the Atma Swarupa because Ajnana is also is something which is known, correct? It is part of the Kshetram. The Kshetrajnaha is separate from the Kshetra and this Ajnana is not part of the Atma Swarupa. It is not really Atma Swarupa. So, here is actually pointing out that very nicely. So, further what? Yadi asmadiyah ajnana swarupa jignasaya prichyati tarhi bravimi. Okay, if our he says now he has answered the Purva Pakshi. Now he is saying if our people ask, okay, those who are Vedantins, Advaitins, they ask what is the Ajnana Swarupa with a desire to know, then I say this what? In fact, the Ajnana Swarupa is no different from the Swarupa of any other thing which you cognize, correct? It's not only Brahman. Finally, it has to go back to Brahman. So that's what he is going to point out. Yadeva ghatadi dvaitasya swarupam tadeva tat karana ajnanasya api iti. So that is what is our answer. Because this entire jagat is ajnana karya only. And that being the case, whatever is the swarupa of this karya, karanasya swarupa also is the same, which is Brahman only. Really. That's what we even pointed out even before. Therefore, what? Nacha ghatadehe kambuggrivadikam swarupamiti vacham. Okay, once we say this word, Purva Pakshi comes back. The swarupa of ghata is having a shape and a neck and all that, correct? Kambuggrivadi, that form alone is its swarupa means no. In fact, the swarupa of ghata is really mrit, the clay. The clay alone is really there. Tasya mrit swarupatva. Then what about mrit? Mrit is satyam. Okay, the Dvaitins can even say that, I think. I don't know whether they really say. They can say that Shruti itself is saying Mritika ityeva satyam. Therefore, clay is satyam. Why can't we say? So, even that you cannot say. Mritika hi kambu grivadi akaravati krita kulalena. Okay, so what we are saying is this Mritika alone is made into a form with all this neck and whatever a round shape, etc. by the potter. So, therefore, what? Tarhi nistatvam ghatadikam iti chet tathaiva ajnanamapi iti vidhi. So, therefore, what? Really speaking, any part, etc. are only nistatvam means they don't have any existence of their own. That's why we say it is mithya. Mritika ityeva satyam. Ghata, etc. are only nama rupa. Vacharammanam vikaro namadheyam. So, all vikaras are only namadheya, nama rupa. Therefore, they are all nistatvam. They don't have any existence of their own or reality of their own. Similarly, Ajnanam also is the same. That is the Siddhanta. Okay, further little bit more is there under this topic. We'll see it in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
Okay.